Kevin loved going on new adventures with his friends. One evening, they heard a story about an old abandoned house outside the town called Hollow House. Everyone said the house was haunted and cursed, but for Kevin and his friends, that was exactly the kind of place they needed to explore. The next day, the group of 3 kids, Kevin, Mark, and Lucy, set off toward the house. As the sun began to set, the silhouette of the abandoned house appeared in the distance. A collapsed roof, broken windows, and a garden overgrown with tall, yellowing grass. It was a place no one had stepped foot in for years. "There's something here," Kevin said, his eyes shining. "We have to check it out." Mark, looking a little nervous, said, "But, have you heard the stories? People have gone missing here." Lucy smiled bravely. "Come on, it's just a house. No one will hurt us." So they decided to go inside. The door, weakened by years of abandonment, creaked open as they pushed it. Once inside, the house was even more chaotic. Dust-filled air, darkened walls, broken furniture. It was as if time had stood still there. Every corner of the house was dark, and a fresh sense of fear lingered in the air. Kevin led the way, cautiously exploring each room without making a sound. Suddenly, in the 3rd room, a door creaked open. It was so slow and eerie that they froze for a moment. When the door fully opened, the inside was pitch black. Lucy, hesitant, said, "Let's go, this place is too creepy." But Kevin had noticed something, a glimmer of something by the edge of the room. "This is," he whispered. "There's something here." He stepped into the room and found an old, dusty box on the floor. He opened it, and inside was an ancient yellow journal. As Kevin flipped through the pages, a strange coldness spread throughout the room. Just then, a scream echoed through the house. Lucy and Mark rushed into the room. Everything around Kevin started to tremble. Shadows began to appear on the walls, ceiling, and floor. At that moment, they realized this house was cursed. The house began to turn against them. Doors slammed shut, and eerie whispers filled the air. Kevin shouted at his friends, "Come on, we have to get out of here." But it was too late. The doors had locked. Shadowy figures began to move around them. Kevin continued to explore the old room, his voice shaking. "There's something here. We need to solve the mystery." Eventually, Kevin and his friends freed a trapped spirit that had been haunting the house for many years. The spirit, grateful for its release, looked at them with thankfulness before disappearing into the ether. From that day on, no one ever bothered Hollow House again. Kevin and his friends would remember that night as the scariest adventure of their lives.